coding today again, another Sunday morning. Let me know if the sound and the visuals are all right, and we're gonna get started. How's your morning going? Happy Halloween, everyone. Hey, hey, hey. Good morning. Good morning, friends. I know there's a delay until you see and hear me. So meanwhile, yeah, perfect. Everything is in place. Good guys in the chat. I have water. I have wine. And I have a hedgehog. So we are ready to get started. All right. Yikes. So today I'm for a difference, I think it's gonna be a rather simple stream. I don't know, maybe we would be under 1 hour finally. I decided I should try Pixi.js because recently there were a couple of websites that's been using Pixi.js for their animation, and that was one that really liked the interaction part that I liked, and I decided I would code it today. Yay. Morning, everyone. Hey. Good to see you guys. All right, I'm gonna switch the screens. So this is one of the recent award-winning websites that I've seen on the awards.com. And yeah, there's this nice effect on the title, but that's not what I'm looking for. I really like this one. Like when you scroll, there's this inertia and distortion happening. And I think it's just like the one at Jasper. Kind of like the effect that he had on his website, on his portfolio. And a couple of subscribers asked me about replicating this effect. So kind of we're gonna do this effect today. At least we will try. So let's get started. The Mac I'm using and all this setup is in the description for the video. Just click the link, there's everything. All the software, all the stuff I use. Right now it's 16 inches 2020 MacBook, or 19. It's 19. It's already old. It's gonna be 2 years in 2 months. Okay, let's get started. So I'm gonna create the folder. I'm gonna call this folder Super Slider. Just the slider, okay, I'm humble. And then let's open it up. Let's create the index.html. And let's create the stuff that we create all the time. And then the app.js, and then the app.js. And then alert everything. Hello. What's the difference between Fabric.js and 3.js? I don't know what's Fabric.js, to be honest. What's Fabric.js? JavaScript canvas library. I'm not sure if you're trolling me or this is a serious question. It doesn't look like it's 3D, I guess. All right, let's get started. Yeah, hyvää iltaa, my Finnish friends. Oh, hyvää huomenta, hyvää huomenta. Yeah, I'm gonna go to the Pixi.js official website, and let's just grab the example. And which example would I grab? I think the one with the textures, some basic textures, maybe this one. Yeah, doesn't really matter which one. I just need the basic 3.js setup, and then I need to run this all in parcel. Yeah, desktop slider. Okay, I guess it's running. We see the huge hello. I'm gonna do the screen layout, artisan screen layout. Handmade, no automation tools were harmed. Nah, it depends. Sometimes I'm doing just the module of some bigger project, and this way it's kind of cool to use parcel to just create the module. But if it's a big project like with a lot of dependencies, I'd better go with the Webpack, I think. Yay. Okay, so I have this thing in my buffer. Let's convert this one to my usual class sketch. Import from as Pixi from Pixi.js, I think is the name of the official repo. Yeah, I've seen some examples of mixing Pixi and Three.js, but I'm not sure you need that. By the way, it's been some time, it's been a while since I used Pixi, and when I just went for the examples on the Pixi.js official website, there's some pretty cool examples, like the new ones, like completely new ones. There's some 3D stuff in Pixi now. Like they have a lot of plugins now, and well, mostly those plugins are game oriented, I think, so just to make some isometric projection kind of games, 2D games, but some of them are pretty 3D. So we have the mesh and shaders, and yeah, we can incorporate shader toy, can have some render buffers inside of it. You can also have some custom geometries. So I know it's kind of basic maybe compared to Three.js and lots of loaders in Three.js, but still you can use some custom geometries inside Pixi. Just convert them to some numbers, and here you go, some triangles with the UVs, all the stuff, any kind of uniforms. So it's kind of like if you want to go for the website with the images distorted by some WebGL special effects, I think Pixi is the best choice, is the better choice than Three.js if you're not really using any 3D stuff, or you're just using the basic 3D stuff, because you still have vertex shader right here somewhere. You also have instance geometry, so you could just fly some triangles on your screen. There's a lot of things. Тут просто не сказати щось по-російськи, але ж я розмовляю українською. Вибачте. Yeah, maybe some project specifics to use fabrics. All right, so I really advise you to go into the Pixi.js examples and look at their progress. I really want to thank you, Ivan Popelyshev, for his, like, I don't know, for his huge part, for the huge part he played in the Pixi.js community and helping others. It's like 3 out of 4 times when you Google something about Pixi, you're gonna be reading Ivan Popelyshev answer on some forum. Yes, so thank you, Ivan, for your amazing work on this. He's one of the big contributors to Pixi.js library. All the others are cool as well. It's not to undermine any other ones. All right, so let's switch it to the, let's draw something on the screen. So right now we have this Pixi stuff, and also need some texture. Have some textures. That is free JPEG. Picture of a bald man. I'm going to be using images from my favorite animes today. So this is T, this is going to be the URL, so I can now just import T just to check if everything is actually working for me. What? It's not T, it's 3. What is that error? Okay, this is kind of working. It's rendering lots of images one over the other, and you don't see anything, but we at least see that the image is being rendered. I could of course do something like this. Maybe not here. Right here. So now we see all those images with the bold man that I just rendered, so we kind of render in something. Let's convert it to sketch. It wouldn't take a lot of time, I think. Pixi.js has also this option to resize canvas to window. Then I'm gonna append this. This is probably just the canvas element, just like any other WebGL library. Yay. This container. Visify everything. And then there's a texture, so I'm gonna do this add. And then this render. How to go to the States as a front-end developer as a June? I don't know. No idea. I don't want to. At least I wouldn't go there alone. Okay, so to render anything, I'm just adding this app ticker stuff. I will not have any request animation frame because I believe this is a request animation frame. This, and this is rendering to some render targets. I don't need those render targets actually. So right now we have the basic setup of the switch to Pixi.js. Oh my god, I'm gonna be telling 3JS all the time. Pixi.js canvas. I need to add something. I need to render something. Okay, good. So now I can add something. I have texture. I'm be rendering all those bunnies, which are not really bunnies. I don't need this. Yeah, this is something for the render target. I don't need this also. Okay, should be good. Okay, at least we see some canvas. It's kind of good. It's not rendering anything though. Because why? Because container is not defined. Yeah, of course it's not defined. Yeah, now it's rendering just some random textures. It's working. All right, we just spent a couple of minutes on this. This is good. This is good. Shouldn't go in according to plan. Hyvä huomenta, Mr. Vaksu. You by learning JS? Well, my main advice, not learn JS. Just do something with JS. This is the best thing to learn anything. Stop studying, stop learning, just try to do something. Okay, so we have textures, we have stuff. Let's get back for the website for a moment. So this is what we have on the website. We have a couple of images. So first of all, I will probably need a couple of images. I have them, spoiler. Then I would need to add them to my canvas, so not just the same texture right now, but I'm going to be adding them to the canvas and rendering them at specific positions. So let's start with that. First of all, I will need all the images. So here you go, all my favorite animes, well, at least some of them. It's hard to put every single one of them. So T is free JPEG, then T1, T2 is going to be for PNG. T3 is going to be 5 PNG. T4 is going to be 6 JPEG. 6 is going to be 7 PNG. This hurts. T1 is 3, T2 is also 3. Why T2 is 3? It's going to be 4. T4 is 6 JPEG, T6 is 7 PNG, and then I have just 8 JPEG left. Oof. Almost there. This is the hardest part actually. Just those numbers. This is the hardest math, like the most complicated math that you would need to use WebGL. Just kidding. But for me, it's the hardest. Okay, seems right. Then I would need I'll create the array. Well, probably you could have those images in the HTML, but who cares? I'm gonna do T1, T2, T3, T4, T6, T5, T6. Yeah, it's enough, 6 textures. Okay, then I will need to load those textures. There are lots of ways to do this. There are some libraries. I'm using this snippet like already a couple of times in my streams. Images loaded. Load images. Yeah, here you go. So just a simple JavaScript function which I copy pasted from some random Stack Overflow discussion. Here you go. Stack Overflow driven development. So it takes the array of paths and then the callback when everything is loaded. Maybe there's some easier native way to do this. So right now I have all those images. I can replace T1 and I would see the first image, which is, yeah. And then the other one. Yeah, it's working all right. So now I need to load those images. These images, then there's going to be some function which takes the actual loaded images, and let's log those images. Probably I would need to start render and do all this stuff only when the images are loaded. So these are the images. I'm gonna move everything here. Yeah, it's all right. WebGL 2. And then I'll just reassign, what's that, loaded images. Oh, equals images. So now I have this inside my add function and I can do the loop here. Yeah, so I have all those objects. It's good. And probably I just need the image, right? Yeah, now I'm getting the images. What else? Kind of stuck. All right, now I need to add those textures to my canvas. How do I do that? I think I would need to create sprites for this occasion. Just like I did here. So first of all, let's create texture. It's gonna be Pixi texture from a image. Then I need to create sprite from that. On a Pixi sprite texture. Then I could set maybe something like 100 and this. Or is it just an add function? What was that? A child. And then I'm gonna add sprite here. Yeah, I see something. Yeah, see all those images being added. So I have all those texture. I have a texture array of images. So now I can play with them. So because there's a couple of interactions in each of the images, for each of the images, like here, I would probably need to wrap them up into some kind of container that will be adding. equals just to add some structure here. So I'm gonna add this like local image container to the whole stage, and then inside this loop I'm gonna be adding like container add child sprite. This shouldn't change anything, I think. And now I could change the it's going to be just the same because it doesn't matter what object you are setting those things to. Yeah, I believe Sprite is like mesh, so it's like the simplest mesh. I think in 3JS you also have sprites, or how the billboards or the sprites, you also have them, and I think it's the same thing. Hey Florence, need to get back there. I really like that place. Okay, memories hit me. And container sprite. I think also it's better to have the sprite container here, because I can explain you why. We need that because these are being zoomed. And I think to zoom that I will need another wrapper just to cut the edges and cut the stuff in there. All right. This sprite container. Okay, let us just sit there for a moment. I will not be using it. Boom, 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 boom. Next. Next. So we have this now, right? I think first I need to calculate the actual image sizes I'll be using on my screen and remove those. Come on. I'll remove those spaces. Right, now it's better. I think also. Yeah, it's perfect. So first thing I would need to calculate the actual sizes of the images. I think it's just 3 of them, this. So I need to have this margin and I need to have the other space divided by 3. So I'm gonna assign this margin equals 50, this width equals window inner width minus 2 margins. And that divided by 3. And then this height equals just the window inner height, maybe like a bit less than that, so we see the object on screen. So this I just calculated the size of this one object, one small image on my screen. So now I need to place those images on my screen somehow. I have the margins, I have the positions. So first of all, I can do this container. Yeah, I already have it. So y equals, I don't know, this height divided by 10 maybe. And then the x, the most important part, is going to be this margin plus this width multiplied by the number of the objects I'm using here. And this is I should have it here. What? Yeah. Thank you. Crisis averted. Okay. Yep. Yes, now we have the images positioned. They actually kind of positioned right. You could see that. So they're dividing the space by 3. Now the next thing I need to do, I need to place them, I need to scale them so they fit. And this is the moment I learned there's a pretty cool library. First of all, I need to center them. Let's just center them. I'm not going to be using sprite width and height. Yes, now I could see the images kind of being right. So there's this way to change the anchor, like the relative point that is being used to position all the objects. I mean, this object in particular, sprite anchor. So now we're moving all the images to the left top center. And then I would need to add sprite anchor. I need to set the position. Right, position set. And what I'm gonna set this to. So I think this sprite already has some info about the image. It's gonna be sprite. Textures, there's gotta be texture. Oh yeah, sprite texture. And the texture has original and then the width and the height. Okay. So now we centered all the images. Now we're looking at the center point of each of the images. I believe so. The scale is wrong because the images are quite big and we see only the small portion of the image. But now we need to go for the scale. And also the aspect ratios are kind of wrong. We need to set the images to the same small block. But I intentionally picked the different kind of images. Like all those are very different. Has different, like, random aspect ratios. To do that, I actually learned from the guys on this website when I have been decompiling the code. They've been using this MassFit npm library. You know, I usually did that manually, but I've seen some people struggle with this particular case, like when you need to do the CSS kind of background cover or CSS kind of contain in JavaScript. And this library, I believe it's just one small function. I can just go and look at it. I believe it should be pretty small. Yeah, that's it. This is the whole function. What it does, it takes like the original image sizes, it takes then the viewport, and it calculates what should be the scale of the image, what should be the offset of the image, so it covers the whole new viewport. Yeah, right. So it's exactly what CSS background cover contain does for us, but it's in the npm library. So I'm gonna import that one. So I like to learn new things. I like to replicate some websites just the way the developers did that, because this way you would just try to learn some new things to do. This is not real complicated stuff. You could do it manually, by the way, but yeah, it's kind of interesting to use this. So when I will be adding images, first I would need the viewport size. And the viewport size for me, like the parent so-called size, is gonna be like the sizes I just calculated, the width and the height. And I think the library by default is using W and H shorthands. This is going to be the parent. And the image, the parent is going to be the same for every image, obviously, because they are the same size. But this one is going to be different for each image. And it's kind of same, but I'm going to be using this. And then I would need to calculate like the cover size of the image. So the image is actually covering this part. And to do this, I'm gonna just do this fit. Which one goes first? It's either parent or target. think it's this way. And let's log what it outputs. Feet is not defined. Feet. This is what it outputs for us. It's okay, the height and the width we don't need, but the left, so it's some shift for the image because the image is quite big, and then we need to scale the image a little bit. It's going to be different for each image, I believe. Somewhat like but different. So we have this left position, top position, and we have the scale position. So obviously to use it, we just need to set left, top, and scale for each of the sprites we are using right now. But there's a catch. There's a catch. We can't actually set left and top for the sprite because the sprite is already centered, and I need it centered for this interaction. I need the sprite stay centered so we could use like this zoom in thing, mouse over later on. So this is where I need the sprite container part. So we will settle those offsets and scales for the sprite container. And I'm gonna be edited like this. This is gonna be just a couple of wrappers. And then this sprite container, okay, it's just sprite container position, okay. And then cover left, cover top, and then same way for the scale. I don't know if you can do this way. Let's see. So it looks kind of okay. At least the Jojo being scaled correctly, I think. It's kind of they're overlapping, but I believe they are okay. Let's maybe for a moment let's use just a couple of textures. Where do I have those textures? Yeah, I think it's right. The punchman center it correctly. Then I could maybe test it with the texture 2. Yeah, it's also centered correctly. Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good. It's perfect. So this method is actually working. Yeah, it does. All right. So we scaled the sprites correctly, but they are like overflowing the image all over the place. And to like mask that, we actually need mask. And to do this, we would need add another thing. Pixi.js has already masks. Pixi.js masks. This is the maximum Halloween celebration for me. I'm using masks in Pixi. All right. What a life I'm living. So fun. No, it's actually fun. Okay. So there's a masking. This is some old v3. So to use masks, you just need to create some Pixi graphics object and then just set the mask attribute for the object that you would like to add mask. And then I also need to add that mask to whatever. There's a bit simpler way to, instead of Pixi graphics, which I learned on this website. And to do this, I'm just gonna create new Pixi sprite. There are some built-in function to create just the solid color sprite. Yeah, good morning everyone. So to create solid sprite, you would just use this. And I believe this is the way that actually all the graphics is created in Pixi.js. This is some basic shader probably, and you can change color of this shader. I'm gonna use just white. So this is just the white, white what? This is a white rectangle. right. I need to set the width and the height to actual width and the height. This is going to be the mask after all. Height. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so we now have this. I would add this mask to my container. So it's somewhere there. And now I need to set, so I have this sprite, which is just the white rectangle inside inside of everything. And what will I mask? I think I need to mask the sprite, because the sprite is the biggest thing here. Mask. It's working. It's working. I honestly didn't expect it to work that for like in the first try. I don't know. I think you might understand me as a developer. Like, why did it work? Should have been throwing some mistakes. Okay, so now we have all those images. They're being cut. They have the same aspect ratios. Everything is cool. Couple of more steps left. And what are those steps? Let's first let's add the mouse over. Yeah. Actually, look, this was the hardest part, I think, of the stream, to fit all those things. So I believe to add events to any object inside Pixi.js theme. Interactive true. And then you could add some events. So it's going to be container. This is not native events. Mouse over. And the mouse out. Let's add them. Let's start with on. I believe just like the native events, there gotta be something. Listener must be function. Ah, okay. Okay. Yeah, so it's throwing some interaction event, and that event has actually gotta have some target. Maybe it's because it's mouse out, mouse on. Yeah, it's actually thrown me this container that I've been using. It's the container, like this one. So inside this container, I can now do this. Let's just connect gsub real fast. I can now do this, gsub to. Well, now I need to find the sprite inside all those things. So it's going to be probably children 0 and then children 0. I don't know, maybe. And then let's try to animate this. So the scale has X and Y, and I'm going to be trying to animate it double, to make it double. Let's see. Okay, it doesn't work. Maybe this way. Oh, it actually just started working. What the hell? It does work. All right. Now I have to do the same for the outro. Outro is not working for some reason, because I know why it's not working. Because instead of target, I think on the interaction event it's current target. just copy paste this. And I'm not even setting the element here. Maybe it will work anyway. No, it's not working. So I believe it's current target. Okay, still not working. What the hell? Finally, some bugs. Nice to see you. So it's actually Sprite. Okay, I'm not animating it to 1. Hello. Yeah, so it's the mouse overs are working all right now. I think it shouldn't be that huge. It's like just real subtle event. Yeah. Now the mouse events. We need to add some scroll. The most interesting part. Don't need this. Document, add event, listener, mouse wheel. Well, of course, you would need to play in real life projects. You would need to play a lot with scroll because to normalize it, because there are some touch pads, there are some mouses, there are some, I don't know, touch screens. I would add this scroll equals 0. And then inside, I'm gonna be doing this scroll equals what? I need to see something like wheel delta or some sort of that. Wheel delta. I don't need the X and Y because I'm just using the scroll. And I want it to work like anyway. Here we go, we have the scroll now. Now I gotta use this scroll to scroll my images. How do I do that? I thought it's gonna be real simple, but somehow I spent a lot of time playing with those stuff. Just hard to nail it right, all the wrapping stuff, all the scaling stuff. Even though it's simple in the end, it's kind of hard. Okay, I think I would need to have these thumbs, and then not only I would add them to the container, I would also add the stuff. So each of those is going to be just an array of containers. Yeah, it's Sunday morning, by the way. Rainy Sunday morning. Okay, so now I need to move them. How do I move them? I think I would just add something to each of the positions, and this way I need to loop through them. So inside this loop, thumb, and then top position x plus equals sort of like this. And we already have the scroll. It's not really it's not smooth yet. To make it smooth, we can just interpolate one time over the scroll. So instead of scroll, I will have another variable. And then setting scroll target, this just the simplest kind of interpolation. Hopefully it should work. No, the other way. If it's not plus, it's minus. It's easy. Yeah, It's working now. I think I need to make it slower. It's too much. Divide this by 3. Yeah, so it's a smooth scroll now. It's not being distorted yet, and it's not infinite. So let's make it infinite. That's the interesting part, right? So I'm gonna do this number is gonna be equal this image's length. I don't think I need number. I need the whole width. It's gonna be this image length multiplied by this width plus this margin. So this is the whole width of this object, of this slider. And now I want to loop this whole thing. Where are you? Stop there. I could also maybe do this. Something like this, so it's not as fast. Okay, so now loop this whole thing. So I'm gonna create another function. Just gonna be taking 2 variables, this scroll and gonna be scroll and pause. And so by default I could just do the scr plus pause. It's gonna be the same, right? Yeah, it's the same, but I need to loop. To loop this whole thing, I would need to use the modulo function for the whole width. And I believe so let's do this. This whole width, just like that. Let's see. It's kind of working, but not in the right way. So I think to avoid the minus signs, I would need to do this. So now it's kind of working. It's almost an infinite slider, but we need to fix the first element. To do this, I would just subtract and then add the width of one element. So it's going to be minus this width minus this margin, and then plus this width plus this margin. No, maybe the other way around. Maybe it's plus, just to shift it the other way. It's minus. Yeah. So here you go, we got the infinite slider. All right, the infinite WebGL slider. Yeah, with my favorite animes. What more can I dream of this Sunday morning? Only wine. So we are almost at the end, guys. Just little small step left. So we just created the Pixi scrollable theme. So now I need to add the displacement map. There was something in Pixi that lets you use shaders even without using shaders. Like you can use some built-in shaders. And this is like the most common shader that I've been using in my streams and that been used all over the place, all over the web, so everywhere on all the award-winning websites. It's a shader that just distorts UVs, that just distorts something. To use this one in Free.js, I would need to use render targets and post-processing probably. But to use this one in Pixi, it's actually quite, not quite, but kind of straightforward. The percent is just the modulo. Why is the modulo? Because when the number goes over the maximum width, which is the whole width, it means it gets back to 0. I'm adding this thing so it doesn't go negative, because like, I don't know, like imagine the width of the slider is 10 and my item position is 5. So 5 modulo 10 is going to be 5. But then I moved this item position to 11. 11 modulo 10 is going to be 1, so it's going to be back to this position. And because I know the whole width of the slider, I can just always rotate them infinitely and change their position accordingly. And you wouldn't see it on the screen because we have more than 3 items, and you don't see when the flickering happens because I just shifted the flickering one item off the screen. This is what's happening. But there's a glitch. I don't know if I believe this is intentional, but I would expect something else. I would expect the positive value out of this. And to avoid this, I'm doing this like -10, +10, and then modulo 10. And gets me what I wanted, just 9. That's what I expected to get from -1 modulo 10. I hope that's understood now. So this simple formula brings me the happiness. Finally, the happiness in my life. And then I need to use displacement filter. Okay, let's add the filter. Final step to make it amazing. Ooh, it's gonna be so good. How did I call add filter? So there is a displacement filter in Sprite.js or Pixi.js. Oh my god. There's displacement filter everywhere, not only in Pixi.js and Sprite.js. Okay, example. I think it's easier to find here. Just go for the examples. Place. Filters advanced, filters basic. Yeah. And you could use this kind of displacement filter, like a zoom in kind of thing. And that's exactly what we're going to be using now. So I believe it renders to the buffer, and then you apply some another shader to the rendered result. So it's 2 renders, but it's pretty fast in WebGL. So let's add this target. To use this, we need displacement map thing. So we need an image. And I'll just try to draw this image myself in Photoshop. And the hedgehog will help me do that. Please load this Photoshop. Thank you, hedgehog. So yeah, it's my favorite size of an image. And then I need to put the gradient. Gradient 2, there's got to be radian. So I need it to be... No, it's... How do you change the color here? Might be easier to download it from the internet, but I think it's gonna be enough. Yay! And I want it to be JPEG. Disp. So we have this disp JPEG I just drew in Photoshop. Now I need to use it in my and I will create filter based on this thing. So I'm gonna use this displacement sprite equals and then disp. It's kind of the fast way to create the sprite right from the image. Then I would need to add this sprite to my whole scene, right? Or not? Yeah. Will I see it though? Yeah. It's been added to my scene. The scene is being scrolled. All Gucci. All Gucci. Kind of last step left. Now I need to position this thing accordingly. So I think I would need to use again math fit. So the size of the image is this. The size of the parent is this. So I want this sprite to cover the whole screen. Cover it. And now I can set some values on my displacement sprite. Set. And then scale. Yeah, so now it's like covered the whole screen. Now I need to create the filter out of it. So, and the filter is created like this. Displacement filter equals. There gotta be some. None of these. So we just created the filter and we need to assign this filter for the whole screen. Fingers crossed. Yeah, I think it's working. It's distorted now, and to change the distortion we just use this. Yeah, see, the image is being distorted now and it's perfect. It's perfect. And then I could use the minus. I believe I don't need Y distortion, just the X. And if it's 100 it's left, if it's minus 100 it's right. You could see where we're going now. Now I need to set the direction. I need to set the direction. And then this displacement filter scale x equals absolute value of this scroll. So the faster you scroll, the more distorted it would be, multiplied by this direction. Should be it. And I have to set the x scale 0 by default. Maybe I should make it a bit bigger. Boom, boom, boom. like multiply this by 3. Yeah. See this now? It's like I'm scrolling. It has this wobbly inertia, this kind of thing. It's real beautiful. There's one glitch though, and the same glitch is on the original website too, and I'm like, I haven't been able to find the solution yet. I think I gotta ask Ivan. Ivan, I gotta ask you for help, maybe with this. I think, and you know, I'm talking about this. This is bleed of the texture. And I believe I can fix that if I use just the custom shader and I write this displacement map myself, because it's not hard to do this kind of displacement, really. It's good that it's already implemented in Pixi.js, but it's not really that complicated to do it yourself. And when you do it yourself, you can account for those texture bleed stuff and all this stuff, but I'm not sure how you account on this in terms of Pixi.js API. Anyway, I think even this glitch looks kind of cool because it's going so fast that the image faster than speed of light, like this. Yeah. So here you go. We just created the Pixi.js library powered slider, infinite slider. What if you want a title to display for each tile? Well, you could add some text in the Pixi.js, and also because you already have, like, this is just the number, you could just as easy use this for the transform for the DOM elements and position all your titles wherever you go. And just the last touch, I will add and then the magic touch. Yeah, with anime images it looks even cooler. Yeah, so I hope you like that one. It's a pretty cool slider. It's not real complicated. We didn't use a lot of math. Well, we used some, but it's pretty, I don't know, straightforward, kind of basic Pixi.js stuff. But I wanted to make a stream about it because I really like the feel of it. And I advise you to go. I don't know who's the developer of the original website, but I would love to tag them. You could go try it yourself. It's the same as my demo actually, so it doesn't matter if my demo or this one. So it's pretty cool. If you know all the animes I tagged here, let me know your favorite one. Which one of those do you like? I think my favorite is this one of the first one I watched. Where's CSS? What's CSS? Why do we need CSS? It's in the HTML. I don't understand your question. Hello. So I believe there has been a time change and the stream is ending right now because, yeah, we changed the time in here in Ukraine 1 hour back. Yeah, right. This is Kenshin. Yeah. And Saitama and Jojo. But do you know this one? Does any of you know? It's hard to guess, but I think it's pretty self-explanatory, maybe, the name of it. I think I cried once, like maybe 10 years ago. I watched this anime alone in autumn at home with a cup of tea, and then there were some tears because it was a bit sad. To replicate today, KVs. To replicate this in Three.js, well, I think you would need post-processing, and otherwise, I think it's even easier to replicate this in native WebGL than in Three.js, because you don't actually need all the 3D stuff. It's just the plain two-dimensional sprites moving on. So I would just render a couple of images. Concerning this zooming, I believe you would need to use custom shader for that. I'm not sure how you would use the Three.js for that. So I think it's going to be the UVs zooming inside the shader. But then you would need the post-processing with the displacement map. But if you will be using post-processing, I don't think you would need to use the displacement map. You could just use the distance from the center of the UVs, and that's it. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. I'll go play with my hedgehog and with my vine. Hope you like that one. Like and subscribe. Hopefully I will see you in a week. Thank you all for support. I really love that I can share my Sunday mornings with someone else now. If you don't like something, just let me know. And yes, Mr. Waxo, I'm interested in dinner, yeah. So guys, have a good Sunday. Say some kind words to the people you love. Say something good. Do something good. Try to do this yourself. It's really magical to do this. Post-process just to apply it to the whole screen. Well, maybe you could apply distortion to each of the objects, but I think it's better to apply to the whole screen. Hey guys, see you. See you in the comments otherwise.